Wake up, Donnie.
I met a new friend.
Real or imaginary?
28 days.
Imaginary.
6 hours. 42 minutes. 12 seconds. Do you believe in time travel?
I first seen Donnie Darko when I was 15 years old, and unabashed I say that it had a really enormous impact on me. When I look back, I generally see my first viewing of it to mark the beginning of my passion for films, and more so the craft behind making films. It utterly amazed me and was an extremely relatable film for a teenager like myself and many others, which I believe is what gave it its cult status in the future. The film follows 28 days in the life of a mentally damaged young man living in an American suburb in the late 80s. Donnie suffers from bizarre hallucinations of a man in a rabbit suit who explains that the world will end 28 days after they first meet.
28 days. 6 hours. 42 minutes. 12 seconds. That is when the world will end.
Donnie subsequently has to try and understand why the world is ending, and also unravel the many supernatural occurrences which he is increasingly facing in his life, all while a presidential election faces the country.
I'm voting for Dukakis.
The film was made with a $4.5 million budget and flopped miserably, making only $500,000 during its first run in cinemas, and understandably so. The film had next to no mainstream appeal. It had a niche audience of teens for a film about very niche subjects like time travel, death, and morality. Due to its convoluted and open-ended plot, theory after theory was born and shared on message boards, social media, and YouTube. Hell, there's an entire website dedicated to the film, focusing on explaining the ins and outs of the story and the film's time travel concept. It drew in enormous fascination from people worldwide, trying to decipher and uncover the film's many hidden secrets. After first seeing it, I was exposed to all this, spending countless hours sifting through different interpretations of the film online, wanting to know and understand every nuance I could. It was so fascinating to me and many others, and still is. Donnie Darko fast became my favourite film, and stayed in that position for quite some time. But fast forward to the end of 2016, and I was presented with the opportunity to see it in the cinema for the first time on a re-release. I was now 18 years old, not 15. With those essential years of teenage development come maturity and new opinions, beliefs and interests. I had always told myself I'd watch the film again. It was something I cherished greatly for years and felt like it would be interesting to see, but in an odd way I was reluctant to do it. In honesty, I was reluctant because I didn't want to tarnish my affections towards the film. I was afraid that if I saw it again, I'd now think it was bad or didn't hold up, or maybe I'd think it was too immature or too angsty, and I never wanted to change that strong admiration and respect I had for it. I was afraid because of nostalgia. Nostalgia is defined as a sentimental longing or wistful affection for a period in the past, or something done in order to evoke these feelings. Every time I thought of Donnie Darko, I got a severe burst of nostalgia, and I was concerned with the possibility of ruining that. But I knew this was foolish and gave in. I watched the film for what must have been my 4th time, but first in the cinema, and I still loved it. Sure, some of this enjoyment was probably from nostalgia, but I could safely say that upon looking at the film objectively, I still think it's a fantastically well-crafted film, and a key moment in early naughty cinema. Afterwards, it seemed ridiculous to even care if I'd end up not liking it or not, and I did see some flaws which I'd never considered when I was younger. But here's where I get to my point. I think that nostalgia can blind many people when consuming any kind of media. Films, music and games from people's youth end up being interpreted through such rose-tinted glasses that any kind of criticism or complaint about the product is seen as sacrilege, or is taken even as personal offence by passionate fans that often experienced the art at a young and impressionable age. The Beatles often come to mind when I think of this, a band which I am actually a fan of. Although I do greatly enjoy their music, it was at a very different time in history and was the beginnings of rock and roll as we know it today. Much of the instrumentation was quite simple, even if the subject matters were not. And of course many of their records simply can't compete with the industry standard today in terms of recording quality. The early work in rock music paved the way for many other bands that developed on the platform, so now listening to the Beatles may underwhelm younger listeners, and I do understand this, but I often find that anyone who makes these points or feels this way is quickly demonized and seen as a fool who doesn't understand the art. Ocarina of Time, one of the most loved and acclaimed games of all time, 2 has a similar untouchable aura around it. While again, I enjoy this game, it was much more impressive in the early years when it was released, inevitably because it was at the pinnacle of its current technology, and I think this should only be expected. I think that nostalgia makes these works from the past seem utterly unfaltering to such a ridiculous degree that it's bizarre to me. All art should be fair game to criticism, and all criticism can be used to see flaws and further understand a piece of media greater than before. Nothing should be off limits because you hold a sentimental attachment to it. When I rewatched Donnie Darko, I was able to understand why I enjoyed the film so much during more juvenile years, and therein felt like I understood more about my circumstances and my personality back then. I felt like I gained even more admiration for the film in realising that it was very much aimed at young people like myself when I first watched it, and I admired that it gave such people a relatable protagonist. All in all, I would like to see people take a more objective look at their nostalgic treasures, because you may end up finding that even more rewarding than if you're holding on to them too dearly to critique.